Okay, as promised, here is a video explaining the reading analysis and the groups that you are in. Right now I'm in student view, so that way you can see how this will look for yourself. So if you come to modules and then click here where it says reading analysis groups, I have placed you in groups. Even though it sounds kind of intimidating to have a group assignment in this class, it's really, really, really simple. You won't need to meet outside of class. You won't need to do any of those things. It's just a way for the assignment to get broken up into 6 parts so that you're not overwhelmed with work. So, just trust me. I know it sounds crazy, but just trust me. This is probably the best way to get this work done is being in groups. So like I said, it will not require any extra time outside of the online class to get things done. You won't have to necessarily meet. You can if you want to, but you do not have to. So for your first step, you want to come in here, find your name in your group. I'm just going to pick a random name, Dominique Foster. Okay, let's say that I'm you, right? What's important to pay attention to is not necessarily your group number, but the number next to your name. So you are number 3, Dominique. So once you figure that out, you know you're in a group, you have the number next to your name. You're going to come back out to modules, and then you will find the discussion task schedule. So your number will be the same for the entire semester. That will never change. And it says here position. So again, Dominique, you're number 3. That will not change throughout the semester. You will always be number 3. And then for all of you, if you're number 1, 2 through 6, that will stay your number for the semester. What will change is the tasks that you are doing for the assigned date that you are doing them. So for this first reading analysis that's due on Sunday, on February 11th, here are the readings that you're going to use for the discussion, for the reading analysis. And then here is the task that you will be completing as, I don't know if this is highlighting properly, but as number 3, you're going to complete task C. So if you're number 1, you're doing task A, 2, B, so on and so forth. As you can see, the next reading analysis that's due on the 25th, you'll be using these 3 articles. And then Dominique, you will be doing task D. So it rotates. Task E for the one that's due on March 11th. And these are the articles you'll be using. So hopefully that's pretty simple and straightforward to understand. You do not have to worry about everybody else in your group's number. All you need to focus on is your own number. I see here that, there's a typo. This should be a 6. I will change it. I love that I find typos when I do this with you all. It's just so awful, but I'm a human being. So maybe that's just proof that I'm not a robot. Okay, so it's everything else I just quickly scanned. We have 1 through 6, and that's fine. If you're in a group that has only 5 members, that is okay as well. You just, whenever there's, number 6 and they're doing task F, your group just will not complete task F for that week. Does that make sense? So wherever there's a 6, you can just simply ignore it. And like I said, you don't have to worry about other people's numbers. You need to worry about your own number and the task that you have to complete for that week. Please let me know if you need more clarification on that, but I think that's pretty straightforward. So once you figure out your group, the number you are in your group, and then the task that you're doing for that week, you can come back to modules, and you will click on reading analysis task instructions. And so this is the important part. Here's where you will see what task you are doing. So like Dominique, you're doing task C. Just listen up when we get there. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order because I think that makes the most sense. But so here are the tasks. If you have task A, you're going to summarize the reading. It's really important with a summary that you're not doing like a outline. An outline is basically letting you know everything that has happened in the article. Instead, you want to get to the major points of the readings. if anything, you want to come up with like maybe a thesis for each of the readings, but basically, you're explaining the main ideas of the readings to somebody who hasn't read the article. Now, granted, it's coming to me and I've read all the articles, but you need to, show me that you've read, essentially. But, and again, not an outline, not a, paragraph by paragraph, this is what the person said, not a rewriting of the reading, but what is the major point? Summarize, all together, what is this author trying to tell us? For task B, you need to connect the readings and find 2 specific ways in which all 3 of the readings are related. It's not simply enough to just state the 2 connections, but you need to explain how and why they are connected. There are connections. I mean, I'll just give you all of these articles talk about race. So you should be able to find some common thread with what one of the authors said and how that ties in the other 2 articles. Do 2 of those connections, and you have completed task B. For task C, so Dominique, again, you're doing this week. You're going to identify and define key concepts in the reading. So this task should include 2 concepts from each reading. So you have 3 readings. That means you're going to come up with 6 concepts, 2 from each reading. And you want to explain relevant concepts, not just simply like race. I mean, that cannot count. They each have unique key words or key terms or key concepts. So be sure to include your own definition of the concepts and why you think that these are key concepts in your answer and your response. For task D, you want to generate 4 to 5 discussion questions and answer at least 2 of those. And actually 4 to 5 would be if you had 2 articles, but you really want to develop, like, you're looking at 3 questions. So that would be, I'm trying to do math really fast, 9 questions. So you want to do 9 questions, actually, not just simply 4 to 5. Sorry about that. But so this task includes coming up with 3 to 4 questions for each reading. So again, you have 3 readings, 3 questions per reading, 9 questions total. That will generate discussion and encourage us to use higher order thinking skills, not just purely like, what year did the Constitution get signed? Or, like really simple questions. You want to ask questions that, like, allow discussion and for, like, again, critical thinking skills. I even have, I'll show you a little website that you can go to that helps with, like, how to develop critical thinking questions. So, and then you need to answer 1 question from each reading. So you'll have 6 questions total, maybe more if you come up with more questions, and then 3 answers. And then for task E, you want to provide real-world examples of the issues discussed in the reading. This is where you need to find a current newspaper article or like a YouTube clip. And I mean, by YouTube clip, I don't mean like World Star or your favorite bloggers, personal website. I mean, like a CNN clip or something like that, but, a reliable news source. Something that is related to the article. And there are other like great sites out there. Not, you could use BuzzFeed, you could use, other stuff, but I'm saying like, no, like cultfacts.com, illuminati.com, or like, random stuff. You want to use, again, something that's currently, going on that relates to the articles. Explain why the article, if you're going to use a newspaper article or a magazine article or, online journal article, explain why you've chosen it. Or if you use a video or of some sort, explain again how it relates to the readings. And then the last one, task F, is relating the readings to your personal experience. So, find at least one way in which the readings relate to your own personal experiences. If you feel like you have no personal experience with the readings, that's okay. You can give your perspective on the readings. So like, what did you find relevant about the readings? Did you disagree or agree with the authors? What did you find interesting about the readings? And again, you're doing that for all 3. So hopefully these made sense. Again, at some point, each of you will do one of these tasks. There was a time when I used to make everyone do all the tasks. So breaking this up into groups, I think you should be like celebrating right now, because you're not having to do all of these tasks yourself. You're only doing one task per reading analysis. So there's that. So it might seem overwhelming and a lot of work, but trust me, it's not. So I'm looking for a thoughtful and analytical discussion of the issues. You are all juniors and seniors. You should all know how to provide an analytical discussion of these issues. And each task should take 1 to 2 full paragraphs. Each of those tasks, they might actually take more, but because you're at some points you might be discussing maybe only 2, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the schedule again. For the most part, you're discussing 3, so you could probably look to be writing 2 to 3 paragraphs per task. And it's really important that you use direct quotes and cite page numbers for every single task. You need to include direct quotes and page numbers and refer to specific material in the readings. Okay, so that is your, the meat and bones of, how to get this done. I mentioned there's a reading analysis student example. Like I told you, I used to make everybody do this on their own. So here's one student who did a really nice job of this. And he did all the tasks, so you can look to this. Do not copy this, because these are the articles that we're referring to this week. So you want to make sure that you come up with your own thoughts. But just so you can see an example of the things that I'm looking for, or the kind of language, like the, not language, but the writing style and, what my expectations are. David did a phenomenal job, and that's his exemplary work. I mentioned the questions for critical thinking. Here they are. You can open this up. Oh, let's just do the preview. You can open this up, and it has like a variety of different ways to come up with a question, and you use this for inspiration of like, okay, I don't know really how to ask a question, but these are all questions that you can then apply to the readings yourself. So that should help some. Then coming back here, so again, your group, make sure you know your number. Make sure you know what task you're doing. Come here to find out what the instructions are for that task. And then I also have the tasks underneath the assignments here. So if you go to Reading Analysis 211, here are the tasks again, so that way you have them right here. But what's really important is to know your number and what task you are doing. And you can see that here. So it's right here under Reading Analysis. So there's several places to go to get it. I will show you collaborations. I'm going to have to leave student view for a second. When you come to collaboration, so this is how it looks on my end. Let me see if I can go in as maybe a student. I don't remember what group you were in, Dominique. I think you might have been in 3. Nope. Okay, so we'll just use an example of this. Oh, maybe it's not letting me go this way. Okay, I know how I can get there. Okay, so if you come here to discussions, one other thing I was going to talk about at the end, but I guess I will talk about it now. There's a team discussion board. You should also be able to see it under modules as well. I think this is like the neatest way to get there. If you go to modules, and then you come here under questions and answers. This is a team discussion board. Like I mentioned, I was going to talk about this at the end, but here's where you can talk to each of your group members. I can, as the professor obviously I can see all of these boards. I won't be checking them though, because this is just a space for you to talk to one another, exchange contact information, stuff like that, because I was going to show you. So if I go here, I think this will better show me. Yes. So your collaborations. You can, I've made a collaboration for you already. You might have already seen that. And some of you have asked for like access to it. through Google Docs, if the way I have it set up, I believe, is that if you are logged in through your SJSU email, you should have no issue getting to it. But and I would go that route. I will try to make sure that I give everybody access to it if you signed up through another email. But if you don't get access or something like that happens, just email me and I will give you access. But I set up the first one for you so that way you could go through on Google Docs and put all of your tasks in that form. So you can continue to use Google Docs if you want. I will not be setting up collaborations like that for you, but one group member, if you want to, you can go through and do it for the rest of your group. So you would put, use Google Docs. Then you would put like reading analysis. I think your next one is on the 25th. And then make sure that you hit, everyone to collaborate, including myself, because then that's how I'll be able to see it. And then you click Start Collaborating. And it will pull up a Google Doc for you. What's great about this is, again, you will do your task. You'll type up your task. Make sure you put the letter you're doing and then put your name next to it. And then you type, your task if you're doing task A. What's good is you can always open up a separate Word document, do the task, and then copy and paste it here. When it comes time to turn this in, you want to get a shareable link. See right here, anyone with SJSU can view the link, but you can come down here to edit as well. And then you'll copy and paste this into, sorry. You'll copy and paste this into the assignment box when it's time to submit it. Sorry, this is my view, but oh, will it not let me submit? Maybe not because I'm the instructor. Okay, let's go to student settings. Okay, so when you go to submit assignment, you can put in website URL and then just paste it. Oh, why did it not copy it? But if you get my point, right? You come here, you can, again, copy, paste. So one of these is already set up for you. The first one is set up for you to do this. You should be able to see that under collaborations. Again, my view is a little different, and I apologize. This is a little rough, like the way I'm showing it to you, but like there's certain things I cannot see in student view because I'm the instructor. It just doesn't work like that. But you should be able to see it. So you should see the first reading analysis that's on 210. After that, you can continue to use collaborations like I mentioned. I showed you a little how to do that. Just go back 30 seconds or so. That's where you can do it. If not, you can decide in your groups if you want to go to your team discussion board and you want to, exchange contact information. If you don't want to use collaborations here on Canvas, you can decide to do your own Google Docs someplace else outside because maybe you don't want to use your SJSU email to get to things. And maybe it just is easier for you all to create Google Docs that way. It's your world, however you want to get it done. But I think using collaborations on Canvas is probably the easiest way to get things done. So the other thing too is this is my first time using collaborations on Canvas. So hopefully this all works out nicely and we get things done because in my face-to-face classes, it's just easier for people to, again, contact one another and talk about Google Docs face-to-face. So again, it's up to you and your group how you want to do it. I strongly recommend just continuing to use collaborations on Canvas, unless something goes wonky and crazy and it doesn't work, we will figure it out together. So, and otherwise I will, we'll come up with another solution, but I think that that's going to work nicely. So I hope that this video is not too long, and I hope that everything made sense. And if you have any questions, please, let me know. I will definitely answer them. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Thanks.